Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the story behind the story. This is the 21st day of the great month of February 2013. The clock is ticking. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The clock is ticking to what? Folks, there's no doubt that at least in my view, in my studies, this is a watershed year for the Satanists who call themselves the Illuminati, the illuminated ones, the followers of Lucifer. Folks, I appreciate so much the help given by Alex Studer and filling in the days and Tuesdays and Wednesdays for me. I appreciate him so much for doing that. And thank you for your positive comments. I do read as many emails as I can, and I thank you that those of you who care enough to email me and keep me informed are really happy with the presentations done by Alex. Alex is he's definitely got his opinions, and that's wonderful, and he's got his own style, which is special too. And folks, I really hope that he becomes even more popular than I am. He deserves it. I'm not to say that I'm even popular. I appreciate all feedback, even though it can be at times very negative. I wanted to do a couple of things today. I wanted to share with you listeners a couple of responses that I gave to individuals. I don't want to say they're really negative. I don't think any honest question can ever be negative per se. Well, the only thing that's really negative is people's perceptions, and if it's mean-spirited and hateful and slanderous, that's a different story. I won't respond to those. I ignore them as much as I can. I have had my share in the last 2 years of, yes, death threats to me, without a doubt. What do? Do you just quit talking on the radio? You quit expounding truths that you know to be correct in your heart? If you do that, you're fear-based. I probably should report them to the FBI and whatever. I mean, these are pretty serious threats, honestly. And I had a chance to talk this morning with Don Nikoloff. I've had 5 or 6 people email me and even post on my blog, whatever happened to Don? Is he okay? Since he was unable to continue doing the radio on the micro effect. People wonder if he's okay. And I had a good chat with him today, quite a lengthy chat about certain things. I want just to tell you, those fans of Don Nikoloff, he's okay. He is under attack, without a doubt, as I have been, as others have been. Computers being the main target, shutting down internet access, shutting down, again, your ability to even live in peace. Don, I don't think he would mind me telling you, his home has had some incredible flooding, strange flooding, even to having sewer systems back completely up into his living abode, if you know what I'm talking about. Very nasty things happening. So those of you who believe in divine intervention, believe in prayer, Don can use prayers, and so can I. And so can Alex and everybody else involved here with getting the truth out. Those of you who send me daily messages and prayer notifications, I thank you deeply. Thank you so much, because prayer is very real. It becomes more and more evident to me all the time, folks, that we are in a spiritual battle more than a physical battle. Paul, the apostle, understood that in his epistles. He made it very clear. We really do fight. No, we don't fight against flesh and blood, folks. We don't fight against other people. This is a battle of principalities and powers and the demonic entities that are very real. Folks, if you deny that demonic entities are real, you might as well deny all divinity itself, because the very reason for Christ, in my opinion, in my study, is Christ came to offer a life raft to humanity. Without the hope of Jesus Christ, we really might as well just do whatever makes you feel. And a lot of people do that. They have no hope. They have no knowledge. They have no understanding. So in bringing a message on this radio show, I submit that you have to, yes, expose the evil, expose the people who are making problems, who are part of the problem. But if you just do that alone and not offer solutions, I submit you're simply a part of the problem yourself. And that, to me, the only solution that makes sense, since this is a spiritual battle, really good versus evil, principalities and powers and evil in high places. This is most definitely a spiritual battle. The answer, at least to me personally, is to understand and know who Jesus Christ, Jesus of Nazareth, did. The very word, the very name, Jesus, has incredible power, folks. So I wanted to share with you a couple of emails that I received in my response to them. Hope you don't mind. And sometimes you will offend people. There is no way you can help but offend people. Jesus Christ didn't come to be liked. He didn't come to be adored, to be a fan on somebody's poster on somebody's wall. Folks, he came to tell the truth. He came to stand for truth. He left this world but gave those disciples that follow him a most special gift, a comforter, the Spirit of truth, to testify of all truth. That's his mission. See? So, he never came to win friends and influence people that he was against. The scribes and Pharisees hated him with an intense, burning hatred, enough to conspire him to the most ignominious embarrassment, death, and torture. I mean, I don't think any civilization in all of time could have thought up a more heinous and horrendous way of killing a person than crucifixion. Absolutely. Absolutely true. Well, let me share with you, again, I was a guest on 10. And I had no idea how widespread this interview would be heard and listened to, but I got to say, I've been quite surprised at the feedback of people listening to the Red Ice broadcast, then coming also on my blog, getting to know me and my writings a little bit more in depth, and perhaps even listening today. And if there's anybody that's a first-time listener coming off of Red Eyes, I say welcome. Welcome to the Micro Effect Radio Network. But let me just share with you, the first hour of the interview on Red Ice is there on Red Ice Radio's public website. You can listen absolutely free of charge there. But in his way of marketing, just like the Micro Effect has to have donations, they have to have money to survive. They have to have money to pay the bills, to keep the lights on. So it is with this gentleman, Henrik. And I got to tell you, he gave me access to all the archives, as basically as a thank you for being a guest, which was all my honor, really. But I listened to so many of his other guests. Good stuff. Great guests. And he's well versed in the subject matter of each guest. I take my hat off to this gentleman from Sweden. I'm very impressed with his guests and the content of his archives. Very much so. And so I just feel, I must say, it's an incredible honor to be on a guest with him. I submit he's the George Norrie of Europe. His listenership is quite immense across Scandinavia and the United States even. So, again, hats off. I just feel incredibly honored to have been a guest. I should have known this before I even went on, but then I might have been a little bit nervous. No, I do so many radio interviews, I really do, and I'm happy to do them, but I really had no idea of the work and the prestige of Red Eyes. So I'm just, again, thank you. So here is a response that I want to share with you, and I sent this out to a couple of other people and got some very positive feedback from them. And here is this. I won't say his name. I'll leave that off. If you want to see the entire text, he actually posted this on my blog, atruot.com, under the heading About Atruot. He put sort of kind of a personal notice to me. He writes, "Dear Mr. Ott, quote, I just finished listening to your 2-hour interview with Henrik, parentheses, not Heinrich." my bad, my mistake. I did refer to him as Heinrich. It's Henrik Palmgren on Red Eyes Radio. Quote, "While I appreciate the many wonderful things you had to say, and while I am totally convinced of your forthrightness and sincerity, I am afraid I must part company with you on a subject you talked about on his program. I will begin by asking you a question. Why is it that so many, parentheses, usually men, when discussing the topic of homosexuality, solely focus on the sexual aspect of that particular orientation, as if carnal lust is the predominant obsession of all gay men? Surely even you would not think that encapsulates the entirety of gay male existence, question mark. You betray yourself to be insecure." Okay, that's an objective judgment there. I don't know. Subjectively, looking at myself, everybody's a little bit insecure, but come on, I'm not insecure about sexuality and sexuality issues. I got to tell you, I know who I am, and I know who God is. I know that much. He goes on, quote, "You don't mention female gayness, only male gayness." And let me just say that, yeah, I didn't mention that because the show was not this was not the topic of the show. It was a little, maybe 5-minute segment of a 2-hour interview. I just mentioned it in passing. It wasn't the focus. I'd love to spend another 2 hours focusing on this, if possible, but I'll do it on this show and get it out there. I've already explained this in depth on other broadcasts. Again, I'm going to offend people because this is not politically correct. Obviously not. So he writes, "You betray yourself to be insecure. You don't mention female gayness, only male gayness." I wonder if you've ever actually talked to a gay man, one who was not religiously, quote, cured about who he is. And the question is valid. What makes you an expert on this subject? Hey, I'm not ever claiming to be an expert. I'm just observing what I've witnessed. Simple as that. Here I quote, I would never make pronouncements, for example, about what women are if I am not a woman, or at least if I've never talked to a woman about it. Then it concludes, quote, this is what really perturbs me about, quote, Christianity. There's too many pronouncements about other people. I cannot see how you can reconcile your disparagement of gay people with your love of Jesus Christ. I don't see how, if you are the pious man you present yourself publicly to be, how you can have one without the other, live one without the other. My repost to all those who so righteously and eagerly profess to be Christian usually comes in one word. Already? His first name is Elmore. Here's what I wrote back to him. I want to share this with you, and I want to elaborate on it as I have time in this first segment. I wrote back, greetings, Elmore, and thanks for your thoughtful post. The answer to your question is quite simple. By strict historical and traditional definition, homosexuality, aka sodomy, is a sexual act. One man looking at and admiring another man's posterior is not homosexuality per se. And so the defining sexual act is of necessity derived from mutual carnal lust and sexual desires. Parenthesis, unless one party is unwilling, and then it is called homosexual rape. You clearly imply in your post that being, quote, gay does not involve carnal lust for members of the same sex, question mark? Isn't that the definition of being straight and or moral? You see? Quote, I submit it is not disparaging, quote, gay people to honestly declare what causes the vast majority of the situation. Both gay men, so-called, and women find themselves in, which, as I publicly declared on the interview, for my years of personal research boils down to simply, folks, it's a chronic imbalance of hormones. See, this declaring that statement right there, folks, is to the Anti-Defamation League and the B'nai B'rith and the Southern Poverty Law Center the equivalent of saying that Zionist Jews are Khazarian imposters. It cuts right to the heart of their hoax. Let me continue. Quote, it is hormones, you see, that gives humans the sexual, aka carnal, desires to replicate the species. That desire is a true blessing from God, my friend. But it is a blessing that is not, I emphasize not, to be abused and altered by the flawed concepts of conspiring men, parentheses, and women. My friend Elmore, God doesn't make mistakes in His divine creation. It takes carnal man to intervene and in his pride cause mutations to occur. The Christian definition of the word sin is simply separation from God, your Creator. Now, it doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. It's still a fact, a universal law. Whatever action separates you from God is defined as sin. And also, folks, sin is the basis. If you really look at the basis of all societal laws, really, it's the basis of these laws that society itself wishes to enforce. Why? To protect the individual's right to life, liberty, and his or her pursuit of happiness, you see. Quote, I wrote him, quote, the reason God condemns sodomy as, quote, sinful is a self-apparent fact that it goes directly against God's divine plan of human procreation. You can't deny that fact, folks. That's what every time I have militant, obnoxious, hate-filled, talk about a hate-filled and angry people. I've had this discussion, and boy, I've talked to them, and they get really upset when I bring this part up. They really get angry, spitting mad, literally spitting mad. When I bring up, look, it's just a matter of fact, folks. You can't, male on male and female on female just does not result in procreation, okay? Thus, it goes directly against God's divine plan. Quote, lesbians and gays cannot procreate, you see. And here I get a little bit, maybe a little bit off track, a little sarcastic. But have no fear, I write. Man, in his prideful arrogance against God, has solved that problem too. It's called surrogate parents. In the mainstream controlled Edomite, Khazarian controlled media, that's all perfectly normal. There are more and more television shows and movies glorifying surrogate parents for gay and lesbian couples. What do you expect when marriage now becomes bonding, legally bonding for gays and lesbian couples? Never mind, you see, that they have rights as human beings. They have civil rights. Of course they do. But they want, you see, marriage to enter into it. And they want to be able to have children, but they can't. They can't procreate within themselves with a couple. They have to, let's be very graphic, either take an egg and implant it in somebody else, or bring a sperm donor in. That's just what they have to do. They pay surrogate parents immense amounts of money. The best example in the media is Elton John and his partner paying huge bucks to a surrogate couple, surrogate parent. It's all perfectly normal. It's okay. This is a wonderful thing, you see. It's all perfectly politically correct, too, of course. To talk about this as being an abhorrent practice is, the political police, the PC police, come out in droves with this. You talk about this on a national talk show, you're going to be blackballed and shut down as a dangerous homophobe within seconds. So I write to good Elmore, quote, no, in reality, it's all a massive, satanically inspired lie, my friend. Furthermore, make no mistake here, just like everything else, parentheses, aka the wonderful things I talked about on the show that you apparently agree with me on, this subject matter, parentheses, the so-called LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender agenda is without a doubt also directly controlled and promoted via the so-called Franklin School and Fabian progressive agendas. These are not conspiracies, folks. These are absolute agendas. These organized enemies of Christ are very skilled in making evil appear to be good and good evil. Notice the Fabian logo, the wolf donning the sheep's clothing. Don't you think it's strange that the Jewish, so-called Jewish, ADL, Anti-Defamation League, and SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center, are also the leading defenders of what they call, quote, hate crimes against homosexuals, too? See, they'll come rapidly to the defense of any gay and lesbian that's being discriminated against, either by word or thought, by talk show hosts like True Lot. They do it in a minute. These are, again, it's the same people promoting the same agenda. A big, big lie. But here's the $50 million jackpot question, folks. And I asked this to Elmore in all seriousness. I asked you this question back in all seriousness. I wrote, where does society then draw the line? Less than 50 years ago, there was little difference in the legal penalties for sodomy as well as man-boy child molestation. Penalties on the books 50 years ago, pretty much identical. Both felonies, both serious jail time, you see. Today, however, slowly but surely, sodomy is now considered a protected right. Anyone who dares point this out is labeled a, quote, homophobe or hate monger, even though they are only telling the truth. The fact is that militant gays, again, funded by these are Jews that are funding these activities, folks, I promise you. I've researched it. I've double researched it. Triple researched it. So we see they're seeking to decriminalize sexual exploitation. We'll come back with this topic, finish up this letter from people on, simply behind the story, folks. If you take listening, you might be ready to hear. And your phone.
If you're considering a water filter, have you heard about Aquapail? Aquapail from FreezeDryGuy.com has huge advantages over many other water filters. American-made Aquapail units are designed and engineered to not just filter contaminated water, but capture or kill all bacteria and viruses to non-detectable levels. Aquapail has the fastest flow rate of any other water filter on the market, filtering a gallon of contaminated water in about 5 minutes. That's water when you need it, now. Get the world's fastest, safest, and most reliable gravity-fed portable water treatment system for surface, well, and wastewater sources. Aquapail. Available in 4 sizes starting at only $100. And all orders to the lower 48 ship free. Call 866-404-3663 or go to FreezeDryGuy.com. That's 866-404-3663 or FreezeDryGuy.com. 100% veteran-owned. The Freeze Dry Guy.
Body Extract continues to receive positive testimonials from people who have experienced amazing results, like Reed.
I just wanted to send you a quick but a very big thank you for Heart and Body Extract. I've been on the formula for nearly a month now, and the improvement in the circulation of my legs has been simply amazing.
Reed was facing a tough choice.
I was facing surgery due to the severity of the 100% blocked arteries in both my legs. And my decision, waiting for surgery, to say no and try heart and body extract instead, has been thankfully the right decision.
And the result?
I can now walk up steps without noticeable pain.
Order Heart and Body Extract at 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305, or hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract for a long and healthy life.
Regardless of the dollar price involved, 1 ounce of gold would purchase a good quality man's suit at the conclusion of the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the presidency of Franklin Roosevelt, and today. You may not be in the market for a new suit, but you don't know what the future may bring. And gold is the one financial constant the world has ever known. It can always provide you with your basic needs. Whether you're looking for junk silver, old silver dollar rolls, gold bullion, or fractional tradable gold pieces, Kettle Moraine is your full-service representative with over 50 years of knowledge and personal experience. Visit FlyingEagleGold.com or call us at 623-327-1778 today for competitive prices on all your gold or silver needs. If you're looking for real financial insurance, call Kettle Moraine today at 623-327-1778. That's Kettle Moraine, 623-327-1778.
Hello, brothers and sisters. We have witnessed the deaths of millions in fake wars. We have seen the erosion of rights and suppression of dissent and protest, and we have failed to stop any of it. This does not mean we are beaten. On the contrary, we are strong, and we can take the fight to our enemy because we are offensive, and we cannot be stopped. Join us as we wage war against our oppressors and tyrants by insulting them as often as we want. Yes, no matter what else you can or cannot do, you can always call your rulers odious squats. Go on, give it a shot, you'll feel better, and you'll have added to the growing ranks of the offensive. The owners of the earth, the fascist, selfish, greedy, lying, murdering scum, the super rich and their miserable lives of privilege and dominance, the thieving, murdering, decadent puke stains. You cannot stop us being offensive. Do you see? You cannot stop us being offensive. Do you see? We can strike at any time. Our arsenal of words will assault you with ever more insults. Rankers and warmongers, be warned. We are offensive. We do not take it back. We do not think we went too far.
Thanks, Abby. I gotta laugh. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Hey, America is in jeopardy, folks. America and the world. It's always been in jeopardy as far as human beings are concerned. It's not a safe place. You know, I recently watched the 1970s movie called Marathon Man. Again, it's quite a different viewpoint now, but in the words of the Nazi doctor, is it safe? Is it safe? No, it's definitely not safe. Please don't go out. Don't go out, ladies and gentlemen, without a buckler and shield and a suit of armor on. And the suit of armor being the knowledge and testimony of Christ, folks, because you gotta understand, as I said before, this is a spiritual battle. Okay, I'm finishing up now with this response to this email to this gentleman named Elmore. I gotta just say that, well, I'll just read it, and because my response pretty much says it all, and I'll draw it up. Where do we draw the line, Elmore? You see, where do we draw the line? The fact is that militant gays are now seeking to decriminalize the sexual (parentheses carnal) exploitation of young boys under the age of 8 years old. This is so unbelievable to me. The North American Man-Boy Love Association, called NAMBLA, is, folks, it's a protected organization. I say protected because the Internal Revenue Service gave them tax-exempt status. Anybody that donates to them can write it off on their taxes as, they don't pay taxes for it. They should be, in my opinion, investigated and charged with felonies and sent to prison. But see, it's a slow, and this again goes back to the whole concept of the Fabian Society, so-called, the Frankfurt School, the agents of the Frankfurt School being in these so-called liberal, progressive universities and university campuses. Whether it's Syracuse University on the East Coast or Cal State Berkeley on the West Coast, make no mistake, folks, it's an agenda that seeks to whittle away the morality of this nation as a whole. De Tocqueville, I've studied his, Alexis de Tocqueville, came and studied America in depth and was amazed at how rapidly America had ascended to a powerful status in the world. Just a generation and a half after a revolution, you see. And the best thing that Alexis de Tocqueville said is America is great because simply America is good. We have morality. We have moral principles. We understand the importance of hard work, of integrity, of morality, of standing tall and walking strong. De Tocqueville says if America ceases to be good, it will cease to be great. Amen to that. Now, NAMBLA is flat out breaking the law by promoting homosexual sex. Pederasty is the legal term with young boys. You read this website, read the prose, read the articles posted. Oh, well, it's not a sin. It's not criminal if these young lads before the age of 8 consent to this. How does a young lad know any different? They're prepubescent, for heaven's sakes. They don't object, but they don't know what the heck they're doing either. It's a trained thing, you see. Now, in this case, this is what I got to say. There's a certain segment of the homosexual, gay, lesbian community that is not hormone imbalanced. They're satanically, flat out satanically possessed. Now, I can't do anything about those. Those are your militants. Those are your NAMBLA folks. And they've always been involved in this since the days of Jesus Christ, folks. Christ came and delivered a powerful parable, a powerful sermon. He called a young lad, a young boy to him, and said, the kingdom of God like this little child. And you can't enter into the kingdom of God unless you become this little child. And then he went on to even rub the faces in the scribes and Pharisees, who were part of the Babylonian ideal of sex with young boys. That's what Babylon did. That's what the ancient Greeks, the Hittites, and the Horites did. They thought it was perfectly okay to have sex with young boys and young girls. It's in the Babylonian Talmud, ladies and gentlemen. It's told perfectly okay. Christ said, whoever offends one of these little ones is better for them than a millstone, a grinding huge millstone be put around their necks and drowned in the depths of the sea. Folks, offend in the Greek is most definitely sexual connotation. Sexual molestation is what he was talking about. Make no mistake about it. If you're Christian, can have no, absolutely no sympathy for these actions. None whatsoever. There is no middle ground here. So I asked listeners on the show, at what point do we as Christians draw the line? My point is this. You see, 50 years ago was the same in the law books. Now, sodomy is totally okay. It's kind of actually a neat thing if you're in the in crowd. You see. If NAMBLA has its way, it's okay. It'd be spiritually fulfilling and uplifting to sodomize young boys. I wrote, quote, they seek to completely decriminalize pederasty. If it was up to NAMBLA, Jerry Sandusky would not be in prison for his actions in that Penn State public shower. No. According to NAMBLA, he should be given a hero status for expressing himself sexually. It's his right. See where the problem is, folks? Where did we draw the line as a society, Elmore? Now, that being said, I feel you completely misunderstand Christians. Christians who are truly one with Christ. There's so many Christians out there. Christian pastors like John Hagee and others I could name. They're just Christians in name only. They really don't have a relationship with Christ. They wouldn't be preaching the gobbledygook lies they do. So I feel you completely misunderstand the term Christians who are truly one with Christ. Christ hates sin because it keeps you from Him, you see. But He unequivocally and absolutely, unconditionally loves the sinner. See, many non-Christians can't get this. They don't. It's totally okay to come out and rail against the sin. We're talking about homosexuality, the sin, not the homosexual person. It's the sin that He hates, not the sinner. Oh, heavens. It's a huge, huge difference. I wrote, quote, I have counseled dozens of gay men and lesbian women. Not so many dozens, but I have a few lesbian women. I truly say I empathize deeply with them as fellow human beings. I empathize with them because, folks, I'm no saint. I'm a fallen sinner myself. I'm not perfect. Anybody that says they are, that's a sin themselves. You can't become one with Christ if you say you're a perfect, wonderful, self-righteous SOB. You can't become one with Christ. You got to confess you're a fallen sinner yourself, because we are. Apostle Paul said the best, every man has sinned. There is no perfect, no one righteous, no, not one. We all have problems. We all have different weaknesses. Christ told those ready to stone the prostitute, "He that is without sin among you, let him cast the first stone." No stones were cast, were they? Nobody is perfect. So you see, I don't judge them. They're fellow human beings with their own cross to bear. I don't approve of the sin and the sinful nature, but if they're truly wanting to come to Christ and recognize there's a problem, then they can be helped. It's wonderful, folks. I laugh with them in their victories. I have. And yet I have cried. I've shed tears with them with their heartbreaking defeats, one of which was diagnosed with AIDS. Folks, I understand it. It's heartbreaking. You see, they're all individuals. If they're really honest, they are trying, like everybody else, to find themselves, to find answers. And yes, I have taught them about my discoveries of what I call the cycle, the downward cycle, which has caused them to be imbalanced in their hormones. I don't think for 1 second, folks, that anybody is born lesbian or born homosexual. It's an acquired situation. Depends again on family, psychological issues of abandonment. There's many things involved here. But I'm telling you, the big central core theme is measuring by blood work levels of either testosterone and or estrogen hormones. And uncovering the reasons why they are either deficient or excessive in one or the other, you see. It's called an imbalance. I have seen people in as little as 6 months, when hormone levels balance, they suddenly begin to... I had one man I know personally who was not attracted to women at all until after his estrogen levels balanced, testosterone level increased, he began looking after women with a carnal desire again. Oh, wait, I'm not gay after all. I'm excited about women now. Hello? Welcome to the world of being cured, of being normal, you see, being natural. What's wrong with this concept, folks? Nothing, absolutely nothing. But you see, it flies in the face of the anti-family, anti-Christian agenda of these Frankfurt School initiates, these Fabian Society Satans. You see. Folks, the other things that I've uncovered here is if you can't absorb minerals in your gastrointestinal tract, you can't absorb minerals, your body cannot produce enzymes, minerals like calcium, magnesium, 21 minerals from boron to zinc are all coenzyme factors. They are the building blocks of the body's cells and the pineal gland, hormone glands, and other. They must have minerals to produce enzymes. Enzymes must then be present to produce and balance hormones, you see. Without a doubt, the incredible grain-based society, we have these anti-nutrients that are found in these grains, folks. Without a doubt, science is now discovering this is the presence of these anti-nutrients, these oxalates, these phytic acids, and other anti-nutrients coat the intestinal tract, and you cannot absorb minerals in the food that you do eat. It's an important part of the scenario, folks. Autoimmune disorders, diseases, are tied to this as well, without a doubt, including fibromyalgia, including Lou Gehrig's disease, including multiple sclerosis, including lupus. The list goes on and on. So without regulated hormones, I wrote to this gentleman, without regulated hormones, you see, their very sexuality and often their very thought process itself, the brain's processes become scrambled. And here's the tragedy, folks. They think they are gay or lesbian because their hormones are imbalanced. They have these abnormal desires. Nobody's saying that they don't have them. The desires are of the same sex. Then they act on them because they're carnally attracted that way. They act on them. And then once they're sexually stimulated and satisfied, it's got to be true. I believe I am gay or I am lesbian. It's no doubt about it. I don't want to be otherwise, you see. So here we have this agenda, this Edomite satanic agenda, this anti-Christian agenda to promote lesbianism and gay and transgender and bisexuality as being absolutely protected as a minority. This is such a crock of garbage. If your hormones are imbalanced, it's not going to change your skin color, folks. You're born either Negro, Caucasian, or whatever. There should not be discrimination against that. But you see, it's just part of a very... You gotta take your hand off to Satan on this one. But very brilliant. Like Paul Harvey said so many years ago, if I were the devil, here's what I would do. Think about it, folks. If I were the devil, Paul Harvey would say, and the true Watt would say today, if I were the devil, how would I destroy the basic pillar of goodness? The very basic pillar of Americana? The family? How would I destroy the family? Well, it's simple. I would make the morality issue, he wrote in, make it old-fashioned to be chaste and moral. Make people feel like that's a weakness, not a strength. If I were the devil, I would say it's perfectly natural and normal to experiment. Men on men, men with boys, girls with boys, girls with ladies. It's exactly what's happened over the last 50-plus years. And it's a crying shame. Satan is laughing his arse off on this one. And everybody's afraid of making a statement about it. They're afraid they're going to be blackballed. They're going to be called a homophobe. They're going to be called this or that. Their business might suffer. Do you think my business hasn't suffered big time for doing this radio show? Every week, my family, my wife says, we can't pay the bills. We can't. I said, I don't know what else to do, honey. I can't stop telling the truth here. Just the way it is. You see, this is most definitely an agenda, the activity of a certain atheist tribe an anti-Christian tribe. If you're anti-Christ, you're anti-God, because Christ is Lord, Christ is God, that literally hates Jesus Christ and all he stands for, and hates the followers of Christ to the point where they want them taken off the face of the earth. You talk about genocide, talk about hundreds of millions, not a lie of 6 million, no, 100+ million Christians, white Christians, targeted last century, folks, and massacred. Whether it's China, whether it's Cambodia, whether it's Soviet Union, Eastern Russia, Eastern Europe, and don't forget the Armenian Christians. You see, I conclude, Elmore, God doesn't make mistakes. Again, understand it. He doesn't roll dice with human hormones just to get a good belly laugh at our or your expense. No, no, no. It takes prideful man to mess things up. And I give him, of course, my paper, the anti-nutrient paper. Folks, that's the first hour. Please stay tuned. We'll come back in the second hour. I'm going to tell you about the little book that I received from a listener in Kentucky. The absolute proof of what I'm talking about here, the divine inspirations of any of the Bible. I'll talk about mathematical numbers for the rest of the second hour. Folks, please stay tuned. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back.
Hey, Dad. Oh, son. What's going on?
Oh, just got my shipment of freeze-dried food from the freeze-dry guy. I was laying away our family supplies here.
Dad, you're not planning to have an emergency, are you?
You don't plan to have them. They happen on their own. You plan a response.
Like what? What could go wrong?
Well, imagine you go to the grocery store and it's empty.
Dad, that's paranoid.
That's possible.
It's paranoid.
It's not paranoid. To prepare. It's perfectly prudent.
Okay, Pops, I get your point.
Keep it.
But, Dad, what if we never need it? Won't it go bad?
Oh, no, son. You'll have babies of your own, and this stuff will still be as good as it is today. And it's good, too. Believe me, I've had some.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Dad, maybe we could have a practice emergency.
Test the food out, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let's hope we don't have a real emergency, son. But if we do, I intend to survive, and I intend for you to survive, too.
Thanks, Dad.
I better get the rest of this put away.
Call 866-404-3663 or go to freezedryguide.com.
We interrupt this program for an urgent announcement. The power's gone and the lights are out. We now have an emergency situation. Time to light your emergency candles. Don't have any? Then it's time to order your supply of emergency grab-and-go candles from LisaKCandles.com. The emergency candles outperform even the most extreme conditions. They are soot and toxin-free and have a natural extended shelf life. The time is now, so don't delay. Have emergency candles from Lisa K Candles ready when you need them, so you remain in the light and out of the dark. Go to LisaKCandles.com. That's Lisa, the letter K, Candles.com. Or call 731-441-3293. That's 731-441-3293. We now return you to your regular scheduled program already in progress.
Heart and Body Extract continues to receive positive testimonials from people who have experienced amazing results, like Reed.
I just wanted to send you a quick but a very big thank you for Heart and Body Extract. I've been on the formula for nearly a month now, and the improvement in the circulation of my legs has been simply amazing.
Reed was facing a tough choice.
I was facing surgery due to the severity of the 100% blocked arteries in both my legs. And my decision, waiting for surgery, to say no and try Heart and Body Extract instead, has been thankfully the right decision.
And the result?
I can now walk up steps without noticeable pain.
Order Heart and Body Extract at 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305, or hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract for a long and healthy life.
And we're back. Welcome back to the second hour of today's Story Behind the Story. Once again, this is the second hour, the 21st day of February 2013. Thanks for listening, folks. Yeah, at top of the hour, we do America in Jeopardy, and we have a great question for you today. Let's see who's really on top of this. Here's the answer. He was a star Russian nihilist, an absolute Bolshevik, a Harvard scholar and a mathematician. Yet, he spent 50 years in the most incredible study of the Bible numerology. Thank you for that, Debbie. The question is, who was Dr. Ivan Panin? Dr. Ivan Panin. Folks, this is an amazing story. I want to just give a shout out to a listener, a very good friend with all the things that she sends me, and she's just a wealth. I mean, an absolute wealth of information. Received yesterday in the mail another tremendously generous gift from her. 7 volumes. 7. I want to talk about 7 a lot this next hour, but 7 volumes of something called the Numerical Bible. I spent, started about 8:30, 9 o'clock last night, till the wee hours of the morning today. I couldn't put the stuff down. I started with the Numerical Bible written by F.W. Grant is his name. First published in the year 1897. First book was really his study of the Old Testament Psalms. Incredibly symmetrical numerical structure, and he uncovered that. But what else was, of course, along with my studies on statistics and numbers that I've been enthralled with myself for probably 25 years. This little booklet, it's a simple booklet by a guy named Dr. Keith L. Brooks. I couldn't tell the year it was published. I'm assuming it's probably in the 70s, maybe even the 60s. But it's a little pocket book. I mean, it's little 12, 13 pages, like a little mini book, entitled Absolute Mathematical Proofs. Proofs being capitalized in capital letters. Proofs. What? Proofs of what? Of the divine inspiration of the Bible. Great little booklet. Flat out incredible. I'm going to have to copy this out and give to everybody that I can, just like she has done for me. I mean, I want to spread this out. This is incredible. Incredible. And it's exciting to me for a couple of reasons. And I'll get into this more as we go on. I like to think of myself as a scientist. Some people would disagree. Some people will say I'm a quack, a nutcase. But I like to think of myself as a scientist, studying and checking and trying. And yet, I try to also cultivate a childlike faith. I trust people for the most part until they give me reason to believe otherwise. And maybe I'm a little bit too trusting, but you know what? I'd rather be that way than be skeptical and hard-hearted and mean-spirited all the time. I'd want to try, honestly, to look for the Christ light in all people. Look for the good in all people. And hopefully they won't disappoint me. So you see, when I myself started looking into numerology, I'm talking now about the study of math and numbers, because there's universal laws of the numbers 1 through 9 that are amazing, flat out amazing structures, folks. And it's not coincidence that the ancient Hebrew people, the Hebrew language, for every Hebrew letter has a corresponding numerical value. It's called gematria, the study of the numerical value. The Greek language, alpha to omega, A to O, the A to the XYZ, right? All of the Greek letters have also a corresponding numerical value. But I'm getting ahead of the story here, folks. Let me just share with you verbatim at least the first couple of pages of this little booklet. It's incredible. Scientific demonstration of the inspiration of the Bible. Quote, one of the most remarkable occurrences in our time is God's preparation of one individual to produce positive evidence that would completely undermine all biblical criticism and bring atheism toppling to the ground wherever honest thinking men will face the facts. That's the key point. If you're not honest, and if you don't think, if you're just kind of walking around and dishonest, trying to steal from everybody, this doesn't amount to a hill of beans. This is don't care, you see. But if you're honest, this is ground-shaking proof. Quote, most startling still is the fact that this individual was a converted Russian nihilist. Now, back in the day, a nihilist was the term given for an atheistic communist, folks. Nihilism was a term in the turn of the century of early 1900s to depict basically agent provocateurs that go around to destroy everything really good, every good fabric of society. The nihilist of Russia destroyed the Russian industrialized base and brought down the empire of Russia. And eventually, of course, the history shows the Tsar and his entire family were eradicated, genocide. Prison wasn't enough. They had to murder even the innocent little ones. So here's this nihilist. A Harvard scholar and a mathematician. Now get this. Russian nihilist, educated, got his PhD, his doctorate at Harvard in Cambridge. Harvard scholar and a mathematician. Very gifted one. Make no mistake. Very gifted. Quote, at the very time when organized atheism, that's a euphemism, folks, for communism, right? Organized atheism is synonymous with communism, was laying its plan to get control of Russia and make use of the vast resources of Russia to sow the seeds of atheism in every nation of the earth. Oh, it's exactly what happened, folks. God was preparing his Russian, Ivan Panin, to bring forth scientific evidence of the verbal and plenary inspiration of the Holy Scriptures in the original languages. Quote, Dr. Panin, who passed away in October of 1942, after 50 years of work on Bible numerics, wow, a whole lifetime, 50 years, was not the first to discover that there was a strange mathematical structure running through the Bible. There was Brown in his Ordo Seclorum and F.W. Grant in his Numerical Bible, who now I have the 7 copies of that, 7 editions, 7 volumes, and Bollinger in his Numbers of the Scriptures. These all brought forth many striking examples of numeric features in the Bible. Other very competent scholars now carry on further research in this line. It remained for Dr. Pannon, however, by giving his very life to the task, to find that every letter of the Hebrew and Greek manuscripts is numbered and occupies its own special place in the order of the total numbers of letters in the volume of the Holy Bible. The slightest variations of orthography being all God ordained, since every Greek and Hebrew letter carries a numerical value, parentheses, letters being used for figures in these languages. Every word, every phrase, sentence, and paragraph thus has a definite arithmetical sum. You see, that's the key thing to understand here. This is before computers, folks. This is before the advent. So this had to be done very, very painstakingly, word by word, letter by letter, number by number. Dr. Pannon devoted himself so persistently to counting letters and working out mathematical problems that he often wore himself out physically. His works were voluminous and his discoveries seemingly without end. He was the author of a volume, a book, Structure of the Bible, and of a revision of the New Testament based upon his numeric discoveries. Since his death in 1942, the Nobel Research Foundation, which took over some 43,000 sheets of his pen work. I think I got a lot of website posts. No, 43,000 sheets of his personal pen work. Have employed Hebrew and Greek scholars to further pursue the study, and he issued a book on the subject. Pannon's establishing of the practically infinite series of complex systems in the Hebrew and Greek texts, all sequences, all combination ratios, etc., follow a uniform design from Genesis to Revelation. This is undoubtedly God's answer to modern atheism and higher intellectual criticism, and his vindication of the verbal and plenary inspiration of the Scripture. The discovery settles many questions of text. It also proves that the books of our present Bible, and they alone, have the required features. It settles disputes of long standing as to some portions which scholars have said should be eliminated from the Bible. In this leaflet, it is possible only to touch the surface of the study. The doctrine of the divine authority of the Scriptures has always been fully sustained by the proofs from fulfilled prophecy, from the inexhaustible depths of truth revealed, from its matchless power over the lives of men for good, from its indestructibility, and from the testimony of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. However, some have been wont to wave these lines of evidence aside as unscientific. Dr. Pannon has submitted conclusive scientific proof that the Bible could not have been produced by the unaided human mind. This proof is found in the amazing numeric phenomena in the very structure of the Hebrew and Greek original manuscripts. Dr. Pannon demonstrated either that every other writer of Scripture was an unparalleled literary and mathematical genius, or that he wrote as he was moved by the Holy Ghost. Professor John C. Banks, a worthy successor of Dr. Pannon, has been offering numeric evidence to the same proposition. He laid his discoveries before the readers of a New York paper, copies of which were sent to leading skeptical educators. In other words, these are, again, Edomites, Jewish skeptics, these learned ones, right? And other scientists with a challenge that they disprove, if possible, the phenomenon to which he had called their attention. Since that time, many other learned skeptics have been confronted with the same evidences, and not one has been able to discredit it. Some challenged him, of course, to find the same mathematical structure in Hebrew and Greek classics, such as the Greek Iliad and the Odyssey and other writings by Homer outside of the Bible. To this challenge, Pannon therefore gave much time to the examination of many other writings, but in all failed to find any such phenomena. No such features were ever found in the 7 books added by the Roman Catholic Church to their Old Testament. Isn't that interesting, folks? It is a well-known fact that the number 7 is found throughout the universe. And folks, I'm telling you this as a naturopath, a PhD in nutrition, studying the biological structures of cells, the mitochondria, structure of your cellular DNA, the numbers. You see the very chromosomal patterns of the mitochondria. The numbers they have the number 7 as a multiple. Absolutely all of them. So it's not only in our cells on a micro scale, it's on the universe on an endless macro scale. The 7s come to be played all the way through. Even the measurements of quantum physics, E equals mc squared, the measurement of energy, mass times the speed of light. It all boils down to a number 7, a watermark structure of all creation, folks. So here Dr. Brooks wrote in this little brochure. It is evidently the number of the Creator. Indeed it is. It's his watermark. But the number of the Creator, by the way, is 888. And the number of fullness, rest, and completeness is, again, the number 7. Not only is this law of 7, so-called, found running throughout creation, but it is found scores of times on the surface of Scripture, and it always appears to be highly significant. Furthermore, careful students have often been amazed to find this number always appearing in most unexpected ways. Skeptics might attribute this to the writer considering 7 a mystical number and studying to write important sentences in exactly 7 words, or to cleverly develop subjects under 7 points. Pannon's work, get this folks, deals not with translations, but it deals with the original Hebrew and Greek text. The Old Testament texts were all written in Hebrew, the New Testament texts all in Greek. He asked the question, but how could Pannon get back to originals since we do not know that we have originals? The question is, what is really original? See, the answer is that the comparison of hundreds of preserved manuscripts in the original Greek shows a uniformity that proves a common source. Boy, that's exactly right. When they copied it, they didn't have an IBM copy machine to go and make a photostatic copy, folks. No, when the manuscript began to decay and wear out, they had to painstakingly hand copy it. It had to be absolutely precise in the copying. And an army of trained scribes, trained transcript scribers did a fantastic job. It's accurate. You can look at hundreds of these original manuscripts dating back, over 3 centuries, and they're uniform completely. They're all the same. Did a very tremendous job in copying it word for word, letter for letter. And so here is the beautiful thing, folks. This is just an abbreviated Reader's Digest, absolutely top of the tip of the iceberg. The kinds of phenomena found by Dr. Pannon in these texts. It takes a given subject like the genealogy of Christ found in Matthew chapter 1, verses 1 through 17. Which again, the genealogy of Christ is specifically a multiple of 7 by design. Or a book of the Bible as a whole, or the Bible in its entirety, and shows this uniform phenomenon all the way through. Now think about this, folks. Think deeply about this. The number of words in the entire book, whether it's Old or New Testament, the entire number of individual words will divide evenly by the number 7, and it does. The number of words beginning with a vowel, A-I-O-U, is divisible also by 7. The number of words beginning with a consonant, that covers all the words then, but the consonant is divisible by 7. Not only do you have all the words divisible by 7, but all words starting with a vowel and all words with a consonant divide by 7. You're getting statistically into here some really amazing statistical probabilities that just, my goodness, what can you say? Doesn't stop there. The number of letters in the vocabulary, the letters that make up the words themselves, all the numbers of the letters is divisible by 7. Are you kidding me? Of these letters, those which are vowels, as well as those which are consonants. Not only do they start with them, but all of the vowels and consonants in all the words divide by 7. If that isn't a watermark of divinity, incredible, folks. The number of words in the vocabulary, the entire book, occurring more than once is divisible by 7. Either it appeared once or they appeared a multiple of 7 times, folks. And those words that occur only once in the text, the total number of those appearing only once, the total number also divide by 7. The number of words occurring in more than one form is divisible by 7. The number occurring in only one form likewise divides by 7. The total number of proper nouns also are divisible by 7. The number that are not nouns, likewise divided by 7. The number of proper given names divides by 7. The male names, got it, divide by 7, as do the female names. The number of words beginning with each of the letters of the alphabet. Once again, divisible by 7. Folks, you know, I got to tell you, there's not enough zeros in a Googleplex to tell you the statistical probabilities of this all happening by random chance. A Googleplex is 16 freaking zeros. That's not it's beyond that, folks. Because we're just talking about the tip of the iceberg here. You know, I have a real problem coming from my ex-Mormon background. Being a Mormon for so many years kind of really messes up your mind. And I'll be honest and frank with that. Because you see, as a Mormon missionary, you're trained and you're programmed in your mind to spout off the gobbledygook that the Bible is not translated correctly. Because you see, if the Bible is the authoritative source that Dr. Penn proved, if that's really God's plan, God's roadmap for humanity, as it truly is, what the heck do you need a prophet for? What the heck do you need a church hierarchy for? No, what you need is educated men that are honest and women who are honest and have turned their lives over to Christ completely to help study the secrets of the Bible text and to pattern your lives after the model of Jesus Christ. That's all you need, folks. So you see people get all hung up. Oh, organized religion. Religion is false. You're darn right it is. Religion is false because it's man-made. I don't care what it is. Whether it's Mormonism or Roman Catholicism or the grand poobahs of the Lutheran Church, I don't care. They're just men or women. They are corrupt in their flesh. They are not perfect. God's Word is perfect. You just need to have the time and the mental capacity and the patience to study it. I mean, deeply study it. And so many problems can be resolved. The sinner realizes that sin is separation from God. Give away your sins. Have Christ nail those sins to the cross. I don't care what it is, whether it's homosexuality or lesbianism or bisexual. If you've had a transgender sex change, I don't know. That's a tough one. But folks, whatever is separating you from God, nothing is too great. Just give it to Him. Let Him nail it to the cross. That's what it's there for. You know, it's a absolute problem in this country where people get up and claim.
Dad.
Oh, son.
What's going on?
Oh, just got my shipment of freeze-dried food from the freeze-dry guy. I was laying away our family supplies here.
Dad, you're not planning to have an emergency, are you?
You don't plan to have them. They happen on their own. You plan a response.
Like what? What could go wrong?
Well, imagine you go to the grocery store and it's empty.
Dad, that's paranoid.
That's possible.
It's paranoid.
It's not paranoid to prepare. It's perfectly prudent.
Okay, Pops, I get your point.
All right, keep it.
But, Dad, what if we never need it? Won't it go bad?
Oh, no, son. You'll have babies of your own, and this stuff will still be as good as it is today. And it's good, too. Believe me, I've had some.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Dad, maybe we could have a practice emergency.
Test the food out, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let's hope we don't have a real emergency, son. But if we do, I intend to survive, and I intend for you to survive, too.
Thanks, Dad.
I better get the rest of this put away.
Call 866-404-3663 or go to freezedryguide.com.
We interrupt this program for an urgent announcement. The power's gone and the lights are out. We now have an emergency situation. Time to light your emergency candles. Don't have any? Then it's time to order your supply of emergency grab-and-go candles from LisaKCandles.com. The emergency candles outperform even the most extreme conditions. They are soot and toxin-free and have a natural extended shelf life. The time is now, so don't delay. Have emergency candles from Lisa K. Candles ready when you need them, so you remain in the light and out of the dark. Go to LisaKCandles.com. That's Lisa, the letter K, Candles.com. Or call 731-441-3293. That's 731-441-3293. We now return you to your regular scheduled program already in progress.
Heart and Body Extract continues to receive positive testimonials from people who have experienced amazing results, like Reed.
I just wanted to send you a quick but a very big thank you for Heart and Body Extract. I've been on the formula for nearly a month now, and the improvement in the circulation of my legs has been simply amazing.
Reed was facing a tough choice.
I was facing surgery due to the severity of the 100% blocked arteries in both my legs. And my decision, waiting for surgery, to say no and try Heart and Body Extract instead, has been thankfully the right decision.
And the result?
I can now walk up steps without noticeable pain.
Order Heart and Body Extract at 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305, or hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract for a long and healthy life.
Well, yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to the story behind the story. Okay, so when you read and study this incredible story of Dr. Pannon, there's also a whole nother subsection. You talk about, again, 43,000 pages of documents. 43,000. He just, every place he turned, there was this numerical structure. Could not be denied. It's right there in your face. Now, he also went into not only the summation of the numbers and the letters themselves, but also what he called place values. Now, this is really getting deep. I mean, it's really, come on, not just scratching the surface. Is there anything to do with place values? Now, see, a place value of a letter, whether Hebrew or Greek, is the number of the place the letter occupies in either the Greek or the Hebrew alphabet. Accordingly, in the Hebrew, the place values and the numeric values of the first 10 letters are the same, of course. And the same is the case with the first 5 letters in the Greek. But the 11th Hebrew letter does not stand for 11, but stands for 20. Accordingly, its numeric value is 20, but its place value is 11. This guy is really, he's really gotten deep here now. The last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, the 22nd, stands for 400. In Arabic numerals, 400. Accordingly, its numeric value is 400, but its place value is 22. The same applies to the Greek alphabet. Its 6th letter stands for 7, but its place value, see, is 6. So there's numeric value, and then there's place values. The 1 through 22. The full value then of a Hebrew or Greek letter or word is the summation of both its numeric and place values. Thus, the value of the word for Jesus in Greek is 975, of which the numeric value of the Greek word Jesus is 888. And the place value is 87 totaled. Now that gives an example, right? Now here is what really is jaw-dropping to me personally. The numerical value of the entire vocabulary, every word in the Holy Bible, Old and New both, is divisible by 7. Are you kidding me? The numerical value of the various alphabetical groups of words, again, is divisible by 7. The numerical value of the various forms in which the words occur produce the same phenomena. And again, this above enumeration barely touches the surface of the numerical discoveries penned and brought to light. In the structure of this just one portion, he issued a challenge, and I want to just, again, issue the challenge publicly on this radio show. Anybody out there that's a skeptic, anybody believing that the Bible is just a simple little nothing book, boring little book that'll put you to sleep trying to read it? Here's Pannon's challenge. Here's my challenge as well. He challenged any man to write one paragraph of 300 words intelligently and produce some constant numeric phenomenon of like to science. And they give you 6 months to do it. I thought about this last night. It's one of the reasons why I was up so late. Okay, let's say that I got 6 months. My challenge, and folks, I love Sudoku puzzles. I'm a Sudoku puzzle freak. I think I'm pretty good. I can do pretty much any Sudoku puzzle in pretty good time. I don't know, it's one of the things that I'm crazy about. I love doing the 9 squared 9 by 9 matrix. I don't know, it just challenges to me. I just love it. So I thought, well, okay, let's say that I pick the number 9. I'm going to make 300 words that's all going to be divisible by 9 in the same manner. I'm going to have the same, all letters. I'll have 300, whatever's divided by 9. I'll have equal number of vowels and consonants divisible by 9. I started just to map just the top, just this one portion that's in this booklet. These 7 things. I just had to laugh. I'm smarter than most people that I know. I'm not going to say that'd be bragging, but as far as Sudoku and word puzzles are concerned, but I'm no. I'd have to be some type of Rain Man, some type of a person with, a disability that's gifted to be able to even come close to doing this. And even then, no. I don't think card counting like the movie Rain Man. By the way, I've met the real Rain Man. The fellow, he used to be in my hometown in Cedar City. I interviewed him on the radio show a number of times. The guy's brilliant. You take and ask him a date, any random date, and he'll tell you exactly, what day of the week it fell. I mean, that's the type of phenomenal brain that Kim had. But I'm sorry, he couldn't do this either. It's just flat out. I don't know. Maybe I'm selling him short. Maybe he could. I don't know. I didn't think anybody could do what he did as far as name a date in history, tell you the day of the week it was. That quick. Boom. But we're talking about, again, not just a paragraph of 300 words here, folks. We're talking about a volume that contains 66 books. To be able to flat out put that together in that form, I don't think you could do it with the fastest, most powerful supercomputer, frankly. And do it in just a few months? I don't think so. Again, it's one in a Googleplex, statistically speaking, for this all to have happened by chance. So the question becomes, how then did it happen? It happened because it's God's work. You see. I don't know if this is as exciting to you listeners as it is to me. And, talking to my family about it, they look at me, kind of roll their eyes up. Dad, you need to get out more and relax a little bit. You're taking this way too seriously. And I understand, you gotta unstring the bow once in a while and relax and unwind, but yeah, I'm frustrated that people don't see this as exciting as I do. Well, Dad, we get it. We get it. Christ is God. We get it. Fine, go on. And and my sweet wife. Well, why do you need to know all this? What is a prophet? Well, yeah, it's a valid question. I said, look, to me, it's, again, you can't have too much evidence of God. To me, it's like looking at a beautiful sunset, looking at something in nature and just being overcome by the Spirit of God and the beauty of that creation. I love that. I love looking at a work of art. I love expression that's gorgeous and beautiful. I mean, it's just something that makes my heart sing, whether it's listening to a symphony orchestra, the music played, whatever. It's gorgeous and wonderful. It's, again, showing that God made us. God made this planet. God made everything in this universe. It's not some haphazard, accidental evolution of pond scum out of some primordial ooze. It's much, much more than that. And when you get, I suppose you just can't have too much evidence to support that. Because the more evidence that you have, at least in my worldview, my train of thought, the more evidence that you have, the more confident you are in His promises. The very promises found in that incredibly holy book. The promises. It is absolutely hard for the human vocabulary to explain the promises, the beauty of the promises. Imagine sons of Christ, sons of God. That's not just masculine, but feminine as well. Women can be sons too in the text. Inheritors, joint heirs of all He possesses. What else matters? Is there any room for fear? Any room for worrying about upsetting somebody's false persona of homosexuality or lesbianism? It doesn't offend me to tell the truth about the boat, the ship that these Jews are missing. These anti-Christian atheists that don't know Christ, that lie about Him, that hate Him. I have no problem telling them that they just flat out missed the boat. But they can still get on. There's no room for fear when you have an avalanche of understanding and knowledge that you're right. And that the promises that are in that incredible book are true. If only Esau had understood the importance of his birthright, he wouldn't have sold it away for a mess of pottage because he was too busy, going out there and following Lucifer's demons, hunting and meddling around with the Edomites of Mount Seir. He would never have given up his birthright, his promise. And again, I reemphasize, it doesn't matter today if you're Edomite or Caucasian or remnants of the pure Israelite strain. It doesn't matter because you see the gospel is now to the Gentiles. It's not the house of Israel anymore. These white supremacist groups that come and say, we are true Israel, put on your armband. We are the true Israel. These Ashkenazim Jews are liars. Well, they're liars, but so what? If they come to Christ, they're just as much blessed as you are. They're just as much a sinner as you are. Neo-Nazi man, white supremacist man. When I talk about the conspiracy, the lie that is Israel today, I do so not from a standpoint of white superiority, just to say, hey, it's an agenda to kill Christians, folks. You got to get that. When I talk about that, it's because it's an attack on Christianity. What do you think this is all about, this war on terror? What do you think it's all about, this agenda to take away our guns? What do you think Agenda 21 is all about? It's not attacking the Jews. It's attacking the Christians. It's anti-Christian, folks. And we're talking about genocide, about complete and total abject slavery. See? So when so-called Christians stand up and say, we got to support Israel, we got to support these Zionist brethren, because they're the chosen ones, it's just a litmus test to tell you that person is not a Christian. They can't possibly embrace the anti-Christians who want to see Christians and all mention of the Bible struck out of the earth, period. The Bolsheviks, the communists of Eastern Europe, of course, And the communists today of Mao's China, Chairman Mao's China, the thing they hate worse than anything is Bibles getting to the people. What do you suppose that is? What do you suppose that the tens and tens of millions of Chinese are in forced labor camps making goods for Walmart and other sports outlets in America? Simply because they were found with a New Testament or even a portion of a New Testament in their home? See, it's this very reason. There is power in people coming to Christ. People that understand the divinity of the Bible, folks, there's no need for a prophet to lead them. There's no really any need any longer for a central government to lord it over them. People are truly free. That's individualism, folks. That's the freedom of the founding fathers of this country. The basic Christian people. Why do you? I think it's so funny. I happened to watch an episode. My daughter was watching this episode of Law and Order, and it was quite an amazing episode. It was a story of what they painted as an extremist Christian group, teaching young people to stand up and to fight against sin, to fight against the encroachment of Judaism and Islam on Christian rights. And the way that Law and Order, again, which is an Edomite/Jewish creation, the way they pictured these Christians as being complete nutcases, complete extremists, was very startling, but not surprising. See, they want Christianity, those really truly follow Christ in every way and follow Him as His model. They want them to be labeled and mocked as religious bigots and extremists, dangerous ones at that. And so you see the mainstream Christianity, these so-called religious leaders are preaching a new form that's very dangerous, a new form of ecumenicalism, a new form of, well, it really doesn't matter if you're Islamic or Israeli or Jewish or Buddhist or Mormon or Jehovah's Witness. We're all just brothers and sisters in a big, happy family. The only thing you need to worry about is if you profess Jesus Christ in your lips. That's as dangerous as preaching Satanism, folks, because Christ made it very clear in His Gospel of Matthew that many will come to me in that day of judgment, He writes and explains in this holy writ. Many will come to me in that day of judgment and say, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name? Have we not done many marvelous works in your name? Have we not healed the sick? Have we not prophesied in thy holy name? He says, depart from me, ye that work iniquity, ye that are sinful. Why? Because you never knew me. And folks, knowing Him is emulating Him in every way. Knowing Him is imitating Him in every way, shape, and form. He doesn't want fans. He doesn't want people to go on one day a week and sit there and sing songs and worship him and think he's such a great, great guy. And to get up is moved once by the Holy Spirit and says, I confess Jesus, I'm a sinner, and gets smacked on the head by some well-meaning pastor saying, you're it, you're born again, you're all saved. Folks, that's not it. That is not it. If you think it is, you're flat out deceived. You have to so totally commit your life to following him in every way. You say that it becomes painful. He explains to us in the Gospel of John, in that last great intercessory prayer, he tells, don't be afraid to follow me. He says, you'll be hated. You might even be put to death. You see, that's the price you pay to follow him, to pay the cross, and the reward is well worth it. That's my witness to you today, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for listening.
Hi, Dad.
Oh, son.
What's going on?
I just got my shipment of freeze-dried food from the freeze-dry guy. I was laying away our family supplies here.
Dad, you're not planning to have an emergency, are you?
You don't plan to have them. They happen on their own. You plan a response.
Like what? What could go wrong?
Well, imagine you go to the grocery store and it's empty.
Dad, that's paranoid.
That's possible.
It's paranoid.
It's not paranoid to prepare. It's perfectly prudent.
Okay, Pops, I get your point.
Keep it.
But, Dad, what if we never need it? Won't it go bad?
Oh, no, son. You'll have babies of your own, and this stuff will still be as good as it is today. And it's good, too. Believe me, I've had some.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Dad, maybe we could have a practice emergency.
Test the food out, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let's hope we don't have a real emergency, son. But if we do, I intend to survive, and I intend for you to survive, too.
Thanks, Dad.
I better get the rest of this put away.
Call 866-404-3663 or go to freezedryguide.com.
We interrupt this program for an urgent announcement. The power's gone and the lights are out. We now have an emergency situation. Time to light